Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back. We got another episode of Strange Happenings coming at you tonight. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Mikey, and of course, always the bro host, Bub. Bub, how you doing?
Great.
How you feeling?
Good.
Awesome. What's happening, Necro? And also, tonight with us, Stoner and Disbro and Master Control. What's up, everybody?
There they are. Rolling deep.
What's happening, Colleen? Cess in the city. Thanks for joining us. What's happening, guys?
Hey, everybody.
We've got a great episode, but first, some social media shout outs and so forth. You guys can follow us at The Strange Road on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. The Facebook group, Strange Road Hitchhikers, hit us up there. On YouTube, as always, like this video, share with your friends, and hit that notification bell. And that way you guys get updates on everything that we got rocking, the shorts, the clips, the live streams, the premieres, interview episodes. And so we hugely appreciate that. And you guys can listen on Spotify, Apple, Google, everywhere we get your podcasts. Yep. Keep those 5-star ratings. We see you, Anna, Ohio. We see you, Dayton, Ohio, blowing up the spot over here.
Had some big chunks. Had some big chunks.
So all of our listeners in Seattle, Washington, the last couple weeks,
crazy.
Listening, watching, you guys are the best. But
it's wild. It's wild.
Bub's been freaking out. There's somebody in Dayton that just downloaded like 55 episodes. Today.
I mean, it's cool. It's cool because, you know, I like numbers.
And
I like analytics.
It's Ohio. It's home, so.
It's starting to get a little homegrown.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We appreciate everybody stopping by, checking out what we're doing, what we're creating, feedback. You know, I think especially the last episode we just put out this week, right?
Yeah, with Lindsay.
Really, yeah. I said
gotten some good feedback.
It'll freak you out.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Man.
Listen to it. Listen to her.
Had some folks Monday night that might not have been able to sleep, but I know Necro he was fine. He was dreaming, nice and easy. But also, we love to keep these live streams completely ad free. All of our YouTube premieres ad free.
Yep.
But a great way to support the show is the super chat and super stickers, letting you all know that's there. But we got a hell of an episode. Always trying to bring the strange bi-weekly. If you guys hadn't noticed, we're back to our normal schedule of each Monday an interview episode is dropping. So we kind of pump the brakes. We got a bunch of these projects that are like ready to go and started at least. So we decided to kick it back up a notch, and we're back to launching every Monday. The Strange Road interview show that we do is back in full swing. So there you go.
Yep.
Bob, I know you're excited about that. We were getting a little antsy, weren't we? At least that's what
I'll put it this way. Kyle put it best just by saying, I think this is an itch that needs scratched. I've heard it come up more than once from not just you or not just me, and you know. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's good. It's good.
All right. Well, Stoner's dad's feeling groovy.
Get at it.
I think we're ready to go.
I love it.
That's a good sign. We got a great show. Bub, you definitely took the lead this week on choosing the articles, putting the show together. Hats off to you, buddy, for
I appreciate that.
On a jib job yesterday, and we had some great meetings today. So thanks for putting this one together.
Absolutely.
And by the way, Stoner absolutely been killing it with
Stoner's
the graphics,
been knocking it out.
the edits, the shorts, the clips, the TikToks, like all of it is just looking so good. Custom captions we're doing now. All those little things.
Yeah, I tell them, hey, I've got clips ready, and the next thing you know, the day after,
they're done.
Like rolling out. Like, geez, man, like you were getting after it. I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
The wizard is in his lair.
Oh, he's in there casting spells. You gotta watch him.
You ready to hop in?
Yeah. You ready to dive in?
Yeah, this first one's great.
You want to do this one?
You want it? No.
You want me? Okay.
Yeah, you totally should.
So there's just been some crazy stories lately. A couple weeks back, or I don't even know how long anymore. I mean, time's just kind of like not real. You know, just keeps.
It's fall.
It
was chilly today.
It's so cold out today, but
well, cold I wouldn't say, but
cold to me.
For you,
yeah, for me. But we had the article, about the Manson follower that got finally released, and there's kind of like these stories that have been entrenched in long time U.S. history, right? Like just these one-off really weird, like the Manson murders, like, those ladies will never get out of jail, or Charlie, and Charlie did, right?
DB
Cooper, like just stuff like that to where it's like.
All coming back around.
What, are you sure? And like, not the Manson one's not believable, but like, I never thought that lady was getting out, any of them. I just never thought it would happen. So whatever. It's just kind of one of those. But this article starts off pretty hot and heavy with the missing millionaire spotted living with cannibal tribe in unearthed footage.
Where's it from?
It's pretty wild. This article is from the Daily Star, and this is from the author Michael Morin, and it's from the 22nd of August. And so this is a story where some footage apparently emerged showing a naked white man hunting alongside members of a cannibal tribe, who they apparently think could be Michael Rockefeller, a member of the famously wealthy Rockefeller family. Mm-hmm. He went missing on a trip to Papua New Guinea in 1961, right? So on November 17th, the small boat carrying Rockefeller and Dutch anthropologist Rene Vossing to this island, they got in trouble, right? So Rockefeller looks at this researcher and says, hey, I think I can make it. I'm going to swim it. This is 3 miles. Now, here's my question. Do you think he swam at the time, or it was just like, we're in such peril, I'm going to do, like, do you think he really calculated it? Because a 3 mile...
Yeah, it depends if you're swimming into a current or with a current, or it's a river, right?
That's pretty far out.
Swimming 3 miles downstream.
How do you even know where you're swimming to?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I don't even know if you could see shore at 3 miles. At the water level like that, if you're going to get in, I don't know, whatever. But anyways, he was never seen again.
Yep,
right? Nobody knew what happened to him, etc. So recently, resurfaced film footage captured near the spot where Rockefeller disappeared may change that. This podcaster, Mr. Ballen, Ballen, told how Rockefeller was spotted in the jungles of New Guinea long after he was presumed dead. And this is a quote. A reporter named Milt Macklin heard from this mysterious Australian person who had actually run into Michael Rockefeller recently in the jungle of New Guinea, not far from where he supposedly disappeared. Macklin failed to find this missing man, but he shot a great deal of film showing the Asmat in their home, right? So this is the tribe in New Guinea that they think he might be with. So 40 years later, another documentary film crew decided they were going to go to New Guinea and look for Michael because they were still, hearing all these rumors floating around that he was alive. So they're like, we're going to go look for him. They uncovered this unwatched footage from Milt Macklin, who had already done this research.
They were doing their prep before they went to go find him. Right. They were watching all this footage.
They watched this footage
and all of a sudden,
see this
boom,
naked white dude running with this war canoe with all of these
footage,
not white naked villagers and tribesmen.
It takes a lot of time to scrub through footage. Like if you're just going, it's a task, especially if you have hours worth of footage. So,
or if you just had cams set up and you didn't have somebody actually physically operating it, you just had film rolling, or from what this looks like, this wasn't the most high tech of equipment they were using, but at the time it was. But it probably would have been a person on the camera, you would think. But beyond that, it clearly does show this naked white guy with the tribe, right? So,
there he is.
So there's one explanation, right? But there's also this other explanation, and this comes from another documentary from Lauren and Lawrence Blair in their series Ring of Fire and Indonesian Odyssey. They met a man who claimed to have eaten the multimillionaire New Yorker. So explorer Tobias Schneebaum heard a similar story from a group of Asmat villagers, which he wrote about in his 2000 book, Keep the River on Your Right, A Modern Cannibal Tale. So it goes, Carl Hoffman, a journalist from National Geographic, found further confirmation of that story and published a grisly report of Rockefeller's death. And this is the account. 3 Asmat tribal elders named Pip, Ajim, and Finn found Rockefeller floating, exhausted and close to shore, right? So he swam the 3 miles. Maybe he passed out on the way out and made it. And
right away, he just gets eaten.
It's just not a good ending.
Conflicting reports, though. Years later, all of a sudden,
maybe he didn't get eaten. Maybe he told people, he what?
Got eaten.
I'm gonna
faked his own death.
Dude, just hold on. Let's get through the rest of this.
Okay.
Apparently, they say he shows up to the shore. He's out of breath. He's, oh God, I'm going to be rescued. And Pip actually stabs him with a freaking spear. So
They blow dart his ass, and then
didn't blow dart him. He speared him. They laughed and speared him. They drag him back to the village, and they ate him. And all the other villagers came up and took pieces of him. And those 3 gentlemen, they were allowed to eat his brain. That was the prize. Was the brain, which in real life too
don't we get diseases though from eating like mad cow diseases? People.
I don't have
farmers
enough
were
qualifications to go into whether or not you can consume brains in a healthy manner or not.
What are they? They're scions. It's like scion poisoning, and it's basically like neuromaterial from your own species is not good to eat.
I don't want to know. I don't.
Mad cow disease is essentially they were feeding chopped up cows, brains, tissue, everything back to the cow.
I don't want to know that.
And that's what it is, mad cow disease.
That'd piss you off too, though, wouldn't it?
I mean, yeah, the
maybe
brain
that's
is
yeah. I think he faked his own death. He wanted out of the Rockefeller family, and he said, "You know what? I'll see you later."
He didn't want anything to do with
Bossig.
that lifestyle anymore.
Yeah, he looked at his buddy, the anthropologist, and said, "You know what? I'm going to swim." That's what I would think happened. But
he was swimming away from something.
Yeah,
not anything bad, but just this whole lifestyle of having everything set up for you. Your whole life's pretty much planned out. You know, if you're a Rockefeller, it's not like you're just going to go start an indie podcast and hang out with your dudes.
No. No, they got into trouble. That's one part of the article I go back to where I'm like, got into trouble. What does that mean? Like your boat was going down, or what does that mean? Got into trouble. So
yeah,
I don't know, but that's it. There's Rockefeller. Maybe he went down and hung out and spent the rest of his time and days in New Guinea,
or maybe he got eaten by a cannibal.
He could have. I'm gonna say this. I'll bet he came out of that Rockefeller clan and went there and just started wrecking house in New Guinea and set up his own cannibal tribe. You come out of a cutthroat family like that.
Well,
he was probably like, man, this family, there's nothing left to do here. I know how to take over the world. I want to go start over again. He went back to level 1.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I'm going tribal.
Yeah, he definitely
Sim
did.
City. I'm going jungle run. And then he got eaten.
Yeah.
Maybe. Sorry.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it was a good one. Do you want me to do the next one?
Do go ahead and do the next one.
All right. Well, so these next two is just kind of a little more of just, it's not that strange of news, but it's just kind of historical context news and where we need to keep, just being aware of things that happen. When did we stop being interested in the space programs, and when did we stop being interested in sending people into outer space and on rockets? And it really did. It dropped off. And I don't mean in like the last 5 years. I mean like the last 50 years. Like, people just stopped caring about going up into outer space.
Space shuttle missions all ended, and
we just don't. I remember having a conversation one time with a friend about how electricity was made, and I understood all of it, right? And we were just talking about it, but just trying to capture the idea of how many people have no clue how their lights actually turn on. Like when you flip that switch, what is actually knowing the underpinnings of things sometimes.
I learned more watching a documentary on Nikola Tesla about electricity than I had ever.
Right.
And I'm a knucklehead when it comes to, I'm not going to be an electrician or a plumber or build much.
But you get the concepts of how things are generated, created.
Yeah.
Again, you're aware. You're just aware. Being aware sometimes
I know
is
a lot
enough.
of it has to do with magnets and force, creating electromagnetic force. Electric motors and some of that stuff is it's interesting.
Well, and that's where this falls into the line. We've got India becomes the first country to successfully land spacecraft on the moon's south pole. Now, there have been obviously other countries that have landed on the moon, and we've had manned moon missions. Maybe we haven't, but we'll talk about that another day. What we're talking about here, though, is India has now become, another country to actually land on the moon and get there.
4 total.
Right. So you've got U.S., Soviet Union, China, and India, right? They, however, landed on the southernmost part of the moon from what it looks like here, and they've also tried to do this before. This was, that not their first attempt. But they did land in this region of the lunar surface thought to contain deep craters with ice water. That would be very interesting if we start finding things like that as well.
Yeah.
Right. I know there was something else in here.
There you go. Here's some video of Everybody's celebrating in India.
Oh, yeah.
Their mission control. There's the president.
Wow. So they do have a particular interest in the water and ice, right? So if there is water, ice at that South Pole, it could be used for fuel, oxygen, drinking water, with the mission laying the groundwork for a potential permanent base. Frickin' base on the moon. Frickin' base on the moon.
Well, according to some people, there's already some bases on the moon.
Right. So
I don't know where I lie with that. Secret space program stuff, bases on the moon, Nazi bases on the moon. It's so hard to substantiate, but man, is it fun to think about if there are these kind of like deep secret operations up there already.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
we didn't never stop going. You know, we never stopped going to the moon. Or did we go to the moon at all?
Well, there's a lot there. I mean, one of the things that I think honestly about it is like even the space program and the stuff that we see, right? Like you think of, I think it was Ben Rich from Lockheed Martin. Mm-hmm. He was like, we have the technology to take ET home. Like he said these in different interviews and stuff. So I think they actually have aircraft, or they have craft just like UFOs or UAPs. We don't need rockets.
Yeah.
We don't need rockets to break through the, atmosphere and get out of Earth's gravitational pull.
Is that what everybody's
That's not
seeing?
what UFOs are doing from what I understand. They're indiscriminately popping up and down 80, 90, 100,000 feet at a moment's notice. I'm sure they're getting out of the atmosphere. So even that concept, right? Like thinking like the space program like a train of today, and thinking that we're just kicking ass with these trains. And realistically, everybody else is driving a car down a road and they can make their own determination of where they want to go. But what we think is like, really cutting edge is this train. That's how I look at space and rockets right now. It just seems so bizarre and old-fashioned to me. Like still horse-drawn carts of getting to space type stuff.
Yeah, we're still blasting rockets in.
Maybe that's just me. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. What they're doing with them, they've done some things now that, again, with like SpaceX and those rockets that land themselves and stuff, that stuff's crazy. So don't get me wrong. We've made advancements, but we're not still just combusting fuel to make a big rocket. It's still just a giant firework.
It's material physics at this point.
You like the image from this?
Yeah, it just shows where they landed the India operation, those two little spots on the bottom. I mean, if there'd be water anywhere, it'd be on the southernmost point, frozen, So that is cool.
I don't know a lot about the moon. Does the moon ever, does the moon rotate?
We always see the same face of the moon.
Why? Okay, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about it later. Do you want to do the next one?
Sure. Vice. This is a Vice article by, and this is Russia's first. So this is by Becky Fiera. Russia's first lunar mission in 47 years has crashed into the moon.
No good.
Russia crashed its Luna 25 spacecraft into the moon over the weekend and dashing the nation's hopes of landing a robot on the lunar surface for the first time in 47 years. The uncrewed spacecraft experienced an emergency situation and then ceased its existence as a result of a collision with the lunar surface, according to statements from Roscosmos, Russia's space agency, they were posted on Telegram. Roscosmos lost communications with the mission on Saturday afternoon, Moscow time, less than an hour after it fired its engines as part of a planned orbital approach to the moon. Luna 25 was supposed to touch down on the lunar South Pole within 48 hours of this maneuver, so both of them have their eyes set on the South Pole, which is interesting,
and
too.
Russia was head off before India, so they wrecked, and then India landed.
Right.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
It's a space race again.
I'm sure there's some people
There's a little bit of a space race going on again.
Yeah.
Something's happening.
The old moon in the middle of it all again.
Yeah.
The space agency added that a specially formed interdepartmental commission will conduct an investigation to clarify the cause of the accident on August 19th in accordance with the flight program of Luna 25 spacecraft. An impulse was provided for the information of its pre-landing elliptical orbit. Roscosmos said in a statement posted on Sunday at about 14:57 Moscow time, communication with the Lunar 25 spacecraft was interrupted. The measure taken on August 19th and 20th to search for the device and get into contact with it did not produce any results. The crash is the latest setback for the Russian space program, which has hemorrhaged international partnership and prestige as a result of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Many of the nation's collaborative efforts with Europeans and American space entities have collapsed, including a life-seeking mission to Mars. And honestly, I mean, we've always collaborated with Russia in space. The International Space Station was pretty much a co-collaborative effort with the U.S. and Russia. Other countries were a part of it, but those two put the most money into it.
Yeah.
And that lasted 30 years. And
long time.
Boom, war in Ukraine, Russia's just out of the picture. So, without cross-sharing information probably all the time, is it putting them back? But
who knows?
All the European nations are kind of stacking the deck up against them in space.
Yeah.
Not letting them be a part of the party.
I mean, it's going to get interesting. It's going to get real interesting.
It's the first 21st century moon crash.
Okay. So, from what Necro tells me, there's 200 million pounds of trash on the moon already from us.
Yeah.
Including human dookie bags. Jesus.
Right. I mean, what do you do with it? It's got some gravity. So it's not like it's completely just going to float off into space, right?
I don't know. That's a really, and speaking of trash, that's a good segue.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go for it.
Okay, we'll do this one next. So this next one is from ScienceNature.com. Chinese space cleaner spotted grabbing and throwing away old satellite. This is such a weird image.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it reminds me of a 1980s movie that, oh gosh, it's gonna hurt me not to remember this. But Tom Selleck's in it.
Oh, God,
there's these little weird robots. Flux Capacitor's in here. He always gets the old
is he in
references to movies. I'm not sure if Flutz is in.
I don't know if he's in here or not, but he usually does get the movie references. You're right.
But these little robotic spider. These little robots.
Okay.
Like this company is releasing these things, and it's just total cheesy early 90s movie. But that's what it looks like. Last month, a private satellite tracking company spotted a Chinese spacecraft apparently grabbing and throwing a dead satellite away into a graveyard orbit. Something out of a Star Wars movie occurred in Earth's orbit last month. A Chinese satellite was spotted in late January grabbing another long dead satellite, and days after throwing it into a graveyard orbit 300 kilometers away, where objects are less likely to hit spacecraft. So basically, it's a floating landfill that they're just bunching all these things together and letting them kind of, that way you can track everything around it potentially, where there's just less traffic.
Well, no, there's so much garbage
that there's
floating around the planet.
Yeah, if you're trying to get satellites, up there, you're screwed.
Well, even if you just have something in orbit, think of it like a highway, right? And you have all these good working ones, and if you have an old outdated satellite that's going around and potentially going to smash a multi-million or multi-billion-dollar, piece of equipment that is
your rocket
streaming our stream right now, or giving internet to wherever, or whatever it's doing, like there's so much garbage up there. So much garbage. So that's so wild. We got Roombas in outer space.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yep. That looked like 1990s cheesy movie.
And this is the crazier part. We have stuff like that, and we still have the craziest stuff on this planet happening of where we can't give basic necessities to people. Mm-hmm. We have robots in space that can clean up the trash. But we don't have robots on the planet that can clean up our streets and clean up. I don't know. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It does. That's why I said that my theory of the whole duality thing, where I'm like, is dualism really stretching right now? Like, we're as much as we're getting to like the heights of the craziest, most ridiculous space Roombas we can make. At the same time, we got, the Rockefeller guy getting eaten by the Papua New Guinea cannibal tribe. Like, we've got weird things like these Oh my God, is that the movie?
Am I right?
I don't know, but that's him with a
What does it
hardcore
say?
mustache.
What does it say? Runaway?
Tom Selleck profile
think
picture
that's
should
it.
just be it should just be
Wait, no, that is it.
It should just be a picture of just
Oh
his
my
mustache.
God. Yeah, definitely show that. Thank you.
Look, Necro.
Who
Born Not to Run.
Necro.
Born Not to Run and Necro both called
So
it.
I wasn't crazy. See, this used to play on HBO back in the day when I was a kid because we got HBO free
Never
for
seen that.
15 years when I was a kid. They just kind of, the cable company just forgot about it. And they would play, and I swear, Runaway. Yes.
That's hilarious.
Much love to you guys. That was going to drive me nuts. And Tom Selleck's the lead in it, right?
Yeah,
I didn't dream that.
Tom Selleck's mustache is the lead in it.
Yes. God, that's great. Runaway. Classic. Wow. Okay. Well, these rare events were presented by Dr. Brian Fwelling in a webinar hosted by the Center of Strategic and International Studies and Secure World Foundation last month. Fwelling is the Chief Space Situational Awareness Architect of Exo Analytics Solutions, a private U.S. company that tracks the position of satellites using a large global network of optic telescopes. The Chinese SJ-21 satellite was seen on January 22nd, changing its usual place in the sky to approach decommissioned satellite Compass G2. A few days later, SJ-21 attached to G2, altering its orbit. Chinese officials haven't yet confirmed that the apparent space tug occurred.
They never want to take any credit.
Right, that's weird to me. They just deny everything. Like, deny. Did you
guys no.
Yeah.
They don't want to give a
But we saw
be the
you
wizard,
and
be the wizard,
the
be
NSA
the wizard.
tracked the cars in the parking lot at the Wuhan laboratory.
Yeah, but you got to be the wizard.
The Compass G2 and Beidou 2 G2 is a spacecraft from China's Beidou 2 navigation satellite system that failed shortly after launching in 2009. More than 10 years, the metal carcass has been wandering around Earth alongside millions of other pieces of spacecraft.
Right.
Trash.
That's what I'm saying. There's a bunch of garbage out there.
SJ-21, which launched in October of 2021, has now returned to a geostationary orbit just above the Congo Basin. Geo happens when a satellite orbits Earth over the equator at the same speed as the planet rotates. That's really freaking cool. That kind of just bent my brain a little bit.
As the Earth is turning, that satellite stays with it.
Right.
Geostationary
Stays right
orbit.
over the Congo.
Stationary
spot.
geo orbit.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Pretty wild.
Well, there you go. China. We know the space tug happened. Stop denying it already. What's the point in denying that?
I don't know, but it just sounds funny when you said we know
The old space tug.
The space tug.
The space tug happened.
I don't know how to interpret that. I mean, most people wouldn't think that you're talking about, being a tugboat. I think they'd be thinking you'd be talking about the fraternization
I know, that's where
of
you're
members on the space station.
On the International Space Station. No. Oh, Bub. The old space tug. SJ-21.
That's funny.
That's
all right. U.S. has cloaked bomber jets made using alien technology. Proves UFO hunter with a picture. I'm sure.
IB Times.
Hey, I'm not going to knock it because I've seen some serious sleuthing from Google Earth and all kinds of different ways that, again, Gary McKinnon going into NASA and finding, the unscrubbed images. Like, hey, stranger things have happened. Let's just say that, right? Okay. So, let me just get to this. Releasing a mysterious image, Waring claimed that the cloaked B-1 bomber is developed using alien technology. Conspiracy theorists have long been alleging that the U.S. military is in regular contact with advanced aliens in deep space, and it is helping the country to stay leaps ahead in military technology when compared to other nations. Adding up the heat to these claims, a conspiracy theorist has spotted a seemingly cloaked bomber craft in a military base. So this discovery was made using Google Earth. I watched the video on this, and I don't know if you guys have watched the video. So I saw the image, and I thought, okay, maybe that image is just like tire marks or this or that. You watch the video, it's kind of actually a little bit more freaky. And I don't know if the video will even load anymore. Maybe it got taken down. When I watch the video, they pan and look at this thing from different angles, and it's clearly like you're like, oh, there's something there.
It's pretty
like
weird.
It does look like a Predator airplane, but in a recent post, he claimed that he made this discovery using Google Earth. In the picture shared on the website, a B-1 bomber can be seen parked in the military base, and just next to that, a plane-like structure seems to have been cloaked, can be spotted. And this is a direct quote. I found something at Dyess Air Force Base in Texas. It is a B-1 bomber base. I used to work on B-1 bombers back in Ellsworth Air Force Base, a strategic air command high security base. I found something at Dyess that I'd never seen before. A single cloaked B-1 bomber. If you rotate the map at a 360-degree angle, you will easily see the second B-1 that is cloaked, and that's exactly what he shows in the video.
Right.
It makes sense. You see the black paint already on the B-1 is cloaking technology that absorbs radar so it will not reflect a signal back and be seen. Thus, it is nearly invisible. Waring also assured that the B-1 bomber is making use of alien technology to develop advanced flying vessels. He added that the B-1 bomber is the most perfect aircraft ever developed by the U.S. military. Several conspiracy theorists have alleged that the Area 51, the confidential military base in the Nevada desert, is a place where the military tests alien technology. A few months back, a Facebook event was planned to raid Area 51, but it did not get materialized as planned. I don't know if that was a few months back.
That was forever ago.
Oh, this is from October of 2020. Sorry. It wasn't a few months back. It was a few years and months back. Anyhow, I'm going to keep going on with this. They did not raid Area 51, and there is no raid plan. Please don't go out there. But he did share the conspiracy, the coordinates of this as well to the entrances, and skeptics have dismissed it, saying it's an angle, it's this, it's
By the
that.
way, let me just tell you.
Yeah.
The guy that they're talking about runs the site UFO Sightings Daily.
Yeah.
And just for fun, I clicked on his site, and he's got some pretty interesting videos. I mean, there was one of them that was from like August 26, 2023. He's got YouTube links in there. Yeah. And it's just straight up, so this guy's watching the skies. He's out there scouring for YouTube for, UAP videos and sightings reports.
Absolutely.
He's part of the new MUFON network. So I don't know. Interesting story.
I thought it was really,
that photo's pretty wild, but you could totally Photoshop that very, very, very easily.
But let's say this. Have you ever seen any of the specials when they do bring out like the cloaking technology they have worked on? Like, you ever seen them?
No, I haven't.
The like invisibility cloaks they have made, like how they take those and it's a camera
Just
and basically
Marvel
what
movies.
projects.
Yeah.
Real like DARPA stuff. Like put that cloak on, you can disappear. Like that's real. Like some of the stuff when people say they're actually seeing ghosts and apparitions, there are some times where it's like, was that a ghost and apparition, or was that a high advanced military outfit you just saw? No, a person even. Like when for espionage, you want to go in and like put a hit out on somebody. You want to take out a political candidate. You want to do this. You want to do that.
Your cloaking suit on. And go roll.
Bruce Maccabee's wife seeing the Predator Bigfoot up in Lima, Ohio.
Yeah.
Right. Like.
God, I want that story.
They want to put that on play. Why do you think we see that in Star Wars and Star Trek and every other space movie of the alien ship comes in and it dematerializes the cloaking device so you can see it and you're like, oh, there it is. Like, wow.
Yep. They all have some kind of cloaking.
If you can dream it, you can do it.
Yep. And it's just cameras, right? They're just shooting the sky. They're shooting the ground.
They're shooting what's behind them to project it in front of them to make them invisible.
LEDs underneath it that are just showing the image of.
Well, like if I wore a cloak right now and I wanted it to be invisible, the way the cloak would work is I'm wearing it, and what you're seeing is you're going to see the wall behind me.
Right.
So it'll take a picture of what's behind me and reflect it in front of me to you so that you can see through. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You want to do this next one?
Sure. This one is from bigthink.com. And, of course, we've got to have some ancient civilization stuff for you guys. And this one is... So this one's... The Maya coveted Mercury. It may have hastened their downfall.
Hey.
Well, tends to happen. Mercury is a mesmerizing element, silvery, lustrous, and liquid, and room temperature. It seems like a substance straight out of a fairy tale. In fact, it was long called quicksilver, which literally meant living silver. An archaic use of the word quick is to refer to something that is alive, but prolonged exposure can lead to some serious health problems. An archaeologist, what's up? What?
In honor of Tom Selleck's mustache, Seth's in the City has graciously
Seth's in the City, thank you.
Some sweet moolah with Uncle Rico. Thank you so much. That's hilarious.
That's
in
great.
honor of Tom Selleck's mustache. God, that's funny.
Well, it's Tom Selleck's mustache day today.
I love it. I love it.
Should be
the
a
mustache. Thank you. God, dang it. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, that was
laughing.
worth interrupting. That was good.
It's too funny.
But prolonged exposure. Let's see, where was I? Here we go.
Yeah.
So archaeologists are now learning that the ancient Maya have fallen prey to Mercury's sinister beauty. I mean, my grandpa would have Mercury, and those guys would just play around in their hand, my mom said.
All the time.
Kids. Oh, my grandfather was an engineer, so he had weird chemicals and just different things around.
Yeah.
Working on new idea. He was an engineer for new idea, so he probably had access to. Probably grabbed a little mercury from,
who knows,
the shop, and said they would just roll it around in their hands.
I broke a thermometer when I was a kid.
And did you play with it? Put it on a dish? And
I was trying to get it to go down the sink because I knew my mom was going to find out. I was trying to get
evidence.
Yeah, and I think I was trying to get out of school that day too. I was trying to heat up thermometer, and like, hey, I've got a flu or whatever. It wasn't my day. I
Butterfingers.
Yeah, it's a bad day. Shaky hands.
So persisting for nearly 1,500 years in what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in the countries of Guatemala and Belize, the Maya civilization was one of the most advanced in the ancient world, noted for its unique art, stirring architecture, sophisticated writing, and so on. Environmental degradation caused a harsh downturn in the Maya society over the 10th century. The Spanish conquistadors would finish them what remained about 700 years later. And they were mesmerized by Mercury. Modern archaeologists are now deciphering the remains of this great Mesoamerican society. One thing they gleaned is that the Maya seemed to covet Mercury. Many Maya undoubtedly had an eye for the sublime and thus were entranced by elemental mercury as well as its vermilion-hued offspring, mercury sulfide, also known as cinnabar. Cinnabar is by far the most prevalent of the two components in the archaeological record. Archaeologists have unearthed numerous artifacts made of it and turned up evidence that the Maya extensively used cinnabar-based paints. Pure elemental mercury is rare find, but linked with ritual caches of elite burials. One of the most dazzling discoveries was a bulbous vessel retrieved from an underwater site in Guatemala, holding as much as 500 cubic centimeters of elemental mercury. The wide presence of the toxic element appears to have seriously contaminated many Mayan sites. A team of scientists wrote in a review published last year in the Frontiers in Environmental Science. Over the years, archaeologists have examined 10 locations for the presence of mercury and found that 6 of them had levels exceeding the toxic effect threshold. Most notably, in 2020, a team from the University of Cincinnati, reported that 2 water reservoirs in the heart of the ancient city of Tikal had toxic levels of mercury. The scientists think that rainstorms cause cinnabar-based paints to run off buildings and leach into the water and sediments. Tikal had between 45,000 and 62,000 residents at its height. So this toxic fascination, prolonged exposure to mercury can cause muscle weakness, poor coordination, skin rashes, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, it's like they found mercury in skeletal remains as well.
Yeah.
So, they're working with it. They're obsessed with it, it seems like, using it to create paints. And that shit just is dissolving into your bones, man.
Well, yeah.
I mean, doesn't that, it causes bone cancer, right?
I don't know what it all does. I mean, it said all the downfalls of it, didn't it? Prolonged exposure can cause muscle weakness, poor coordination, skin rashes, memory problems, as well as trouble speaking, hearing, and seeing. element also inhibits certain enzymes necessary for proper neurological function.
It's definitely neurological.
So yeah, they found and uncovered evidence of mercury in Maya skeletal remains that accumulated when the deceased persons were still alive. So moreover, the amounts were significant enough to negatively impact health. One of Tikal's last rulers might have suffered from metabolic disease as a result of chronic mercury poisoning. So I don't know, how were they like bathing in mercury?
I don't know.
Like prepare the bath.
Yeah.
Just jumping in
It's a lot
bunch of mercury.
Yeah.
How wait. How do you where do you get all
that?
Where do you get mercury?
Yeah, that's a better question because
Does anybody even know that? I mean, I'm sitting here with the capability to research it, but I'm trying to use my own thoughts and dream this up. Where do you think mercury comes from?
I mean,
Any ideas?
I'm gonna Google it right now because this is I don't know.
I have no idea, but I'll tell you this much. The ancients, they knew how to find all the precious metals. They knew how to find all the weird stuff.
There you go. Mercury
out
is a naturally occurring element that, God, we're stupid.
I know it's not,
Hold
not
on.
like
Mercury is a
I know it's
naturally
out
occurring
there.
element that can be released into the environment from volcanic activity.
Okay.
Weathering of rocks, industrial processes, waste incinerators, and mining for mercury, gold, and other metals. Most of the mercury in the environment originates from the combustion of coal, which releases 160 tons of mercury a year into the air to the United States alone. Inorganic mercury can also enter the water or soil from the weathering of rocks that contain inorganic mercury salts and from factories or water treatment facilities that release water contaminated with mercury.
Okay, but how does that give you a bottle of mercury?
How do you get
that bottle of silver mercury?
Right. So
We'll look that up and we'll get back to you on all that.
Natural sources account for roughly 60% of the mercury deposited in Canada each year. So it's a bioaccumulate.
We'll look into it. I just need to know, like, what is it like? How do you get a little jar of it? How do we collect?
That's when we phone a friend and call Tom.
Yeah.
Tom
Roll
Johnson
Regis.
from the Rock Shop.
That's right. Well, I'll tell you this much: the Mayans, a little too much mercury.
Yep.
Played with a little too much touch. They got the Midas touch, but with
No
mercury,
touchy.
right?
Yeah.
This next one comes from the Nautilus, and this is a interesting article. It's from August of this year, 18th. Starts off and says, when I ask friends if they've taken psychedelics, I hear the same kind of thing all the time. They'll say, yeah, back in the day, in college or at a rave or hanging out with friends. It was like a rite of passage when they were young. But you could argue people who would benefit the most from these mind-bending experiences are people my age, middle-aged or older, because psychedelics have a unique capacity to open up the mind so that everything feels fresh and full of possibilities, especially as you get older. It's so easy to get stuck in a rut, but under a psychedelic, the brain can become more plastic. This time period, though, is limited. It might just last a few days or weeks, so it is really important to understand this critical period when our minds are open and also so vulnerable. These periods of high plasticity are what Dr. Goldolen has been studying for years. She's a neuroscientist at Johns Hopkins with both a PhD and an MD, and she's done some groundbreaking studies on the critical periods psychedelics can reopen, including in octopuses. Yeah, she's given MDMA to octopuses, who she cheekily calls psychopaths of the ocean. Normally,
Yeah, they are.
Normally, they're asocial, but on MDMA, they become affable.
Could you imagine with all
Which,
them
if you know what
arms?
affable means, and I
Dude.
love words, you know what affable means, right? Affable's lovey, funny,
yeah.
the Vince Vaughn of the water.
Could you imagine getting a back massage on MDMA from an octopus?
Could you imagine an octopus on the MDMA being like, I love you?
Oh, I want to touch your face with all 8 of my tentacles.
Sweet. So anyhow, you give MDMA to an octopus, and they basically get very friendly and very octetally.
That's not a word. Aki touchy. No touchy. Wow. Okay, moving on. Sorry.
Aki-touchy.
Snuck that one by.
Oh, so the question was, what happened when you gave MDMA to octopuses? It was the California two-spot octopus, Octopus bimaculoides. I'm going to try that one more time. Bimaculoids. That's the only way I could say it. They're asocial. These octopus in general that they were using, they're asocial. So when we started these experiments, we made sure to keep them in separate chambers under flower pots because we knew that if they had access to each other, they would probably kill each other. It's kind of like, what's the fish? The beta fish, fighting fish, right?
Yeah, betas.
You don't put them together. So it was a little bit of a surprise that when we gave them MDMA, they ceased to be asocial. They were spending all their time in the social chamber. And this tells us that the brain circuitry for sociality exists in these octopuses, but that it's normally suppressed outside of the reproductive window. Normally, it's turned off. It also suggests that for whatever reason, octopuses evolved to be asocial because it was adaptive for whatever hunting strategy or lifestyle strategy evolution imposed on them. But given that all other cephalopods are social compared to octopuses, there's something unique about the strategy that octopuses have chosen where being asocial is so adaptive. Wow, that's mind-blowing. It's the time where we can do the most transformation. And they're talking about psychedelics here again. So you're taking this animal that it has these very strong things that it does all the time. You
By itself.
give it MDMA and it's like, hey, buddy, I want to hang out with you too. I'm sorry. Most of the time I want to kill you.
You want to see
right now. Oh, dude. Most of the time I want to kill you, but now I want to hang out with you. Now I want to be friends, you know? So it's just like, it's very interesting. So they go on to say, we were amazed by finding, by this finding. We know that psychedelics are different from each other, not just in the flavor of their acute subjective effects, but also in the duration of those acute subjective effects. Ketamine lasts about 30 minutes to 2 hours in people, whereas psilocybin and MDMA are a little bit longer, 3 to 5 hours. LSD is a little bit longer than that, 8 hours.
Oh,
right?
bullshit.
And ibogaine is kind of the rock star of the group.
24.
The acute objective effect lasts anywhere from 36 to 72 hours.
Wow.
From ibogaine.
Could you imagine?
There also seemed to be a rough correlation between the duration of these acute subjective effects and the therapeutic durability. So we wanted to know, is there some relationship between these things that the psychedelic drugs are able to induce? There was, and this is remarkable because whereas ketamine keeps it open for about 3 to 4 days, LSD keeps it open for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? And what they're talking about is that neuroplasticity, that ability to rewire your brain, that ability to change. I do this all the time. I do this all the time. I can't get out of that.
Get out of
those
your
neural circuits
patterns.
that you burn into your brain over and over are just like pathways in the ground. You could walk over the same patch of grass every day. You're going to wear it down, and that just keep following it. That's what you're doing when you do that with your brain. But when you take, LSD or ketamine, these time periods of your brain neuroplasticity being available to kind of rewire or open, and with LSD for like almost a month. Now it's more evident that the shared property that we see across all psychedelics is critical period reopening. It suggests that what it feels like to be in that altered state of consciousness, that's common to all of them. It's just what it feels like to be in critical periods, right? Open critical periods. It tells us also that there's reason that clinicians have spent so much time focusing on the integration period, right? After the acute effects of the drug have worn off. The integration period seems to be important for solidifying the changes happening during therapy. If people are staying in a vulnerable open state for 2 to 3 weeks after we give them the drug, it's a missed opportunity if we don't continue to give them more therapy during that. But also it could be dangerous if we're not taking care of people when they're in that vulnerable state where you're going to be taking in information like a child does. So, I see what they're saying. So knowing what those states are like afterwards is like, how would I say this? Like rehab after having surgery on your leg.
Yeah.
Like, hey, for a month after this, you're going to want to take it easy. Like, don't lift anything over 5 pounds. Like, don't stress yourself, all these. But you might take, go on a ayahuasca retreat or ibogaine or do a psychedelic and think, okay, cool, I did that for a couple days. Well, now they're finding out for a month later, you're still having this like kind of like childlike wonderment and like reprogramming and ability to shift your focus and narrative. So it's really, really wild. That is some really wild. Like, I did not know any
that's
of
what
that.
they talk about, the integration period after you do a big session or go to a shamanistic retreat or whatever it is. The problem people have is, what do you do with all that after the fact?
Yeah.
You have all these revelations, half the shit you can't remember.
Right.
But there was this big breakthrough that you had or whatever it is, that month period, that's when you get your ducks in a row because you're still kind of tapped into that.
Yeah.
And that's, you hear it's kind of like this, I don't know. It's kind of but integrating, it's in the psychedelic ceremony kind of world.
Yeah. Well, like
you
this.
hear a lot of that terminology.
On the last part of this article, it goes in and say that, when they're in these like, the transformative state, like when they're in this point of integration period right after the acute effects of the drug have worn off. They said it's a time where we can do the most transformation to lock in those insights, right? So here's an example, like this quote says, "It turns out I was smoking cigarettes because I hate myself and I thought that this is all I deserved. This is the time to solidify the new patterns of thinking to say, I am worthy and I don't need to smoke anymore. This is a shift away from that way we've approached addiction. Drugs cause addiction because they cause dopamine release. And all we have to do is reverse it and change the reward value of those drugs of abuse." And I'll say that. I quit smoking my Juul, right? My vape pen for my nicotine. Now I run every day. Yeah. Now I'm addicted to I'm going to get a dopamine hit somehow. Okay. Whether that's brutally doing 3 miles running 96 degrees heat, I don't care, but I'm going to get that hit.
You have such an addictive personality. I'm guilty of it too.
Super addictive personality.
Terrible. Always have.
But I'm going to figure out how to get myself satiated, just like a worker dog, like my dog. My dog needs a certain amount of exercise, energy. He requires it, You have to do certain things.
Around.
Yeah, or he's going to lose his mind. Yeah.
Scuba needs his exercise.
But literally taking that, and not that I went on a psychedelic retreat for it, but just the way I framed it in my mind was, I don't want to smoke these nicotine devices anymore, and then the pros and cons of it, but then really getting something to replace that's the hardest thing. Because in those first couple of days, weeks, you're like, it might be all right. And then eventually you're going to want that, or at least me as the ADHD type, I'm going to need that backfill of something to
yeah, you do.
I just do.
Yeah.
I do. Anyhow, that's my soapbox.
This last one's from the dailymail.com.
Oh, yeah.
And what is the truth behind big cat sightings in the UK? Map reveals where beasts may have been spotted in the British countryside. An expert cast doubt on an Amazon documentary team's photo proof of panther-like creatures in Staffordshire Field. Folklore of wild beasts roaming the countryside are often commonplace in many rural towns and villages across the UK. From the notorious Beast of Exmoor to the Demon of Dartmoor, various sightings of exotic animals have stoked suspicion that there could be a number of big cats roaming the countryside. In the last few years, these claims have become more and more tangible thanks to an increasing amount of solid evidence. Experts have admitted a few big cats are likely to be living wild in rural Britain.
Oh, sure.
They are mostly thought to have been exotic pets, which have since escaped.
Joe Exotic.
Yeah, and also the Burmese python situation.
Yeah.
I was listening to that the python cowboy on Rogan talk about the python and iguana problem in Florida.
Well, the only thing that's different there, though,
the
only thing that's different there is you have iguanas and reptiles that are going to repopulate much quicker and in greater quantities. If you have a singular black panther or whatever, black cat or whatever, you're going to have the same species of that,
and those
released.
Those pythons are eating all the Florida panthers. The panthers are getting murked, and they just started coming back. The Everglades.
I told you they just need to have a St. Patrick's Day event down there where they, you know like
what?
The Simpsons, they just kill all the snakes one day.
Some people it's well, it's cold in England, but big cats live.
It don't
Mountain
matter.
Lions live.
They don't
in
care
cold,
if it's
cold weather.
They're
up
fine.
In the mountains. Yeah, they're good. They can live anywhere.
They'll nap. They'll cuddle up.
Pumas are just South American cougars. It's all the same animal, right? I mean, pumas, cougars, panthers.
It's the same animal.
It's exactly.
I think it's the same animal. Mm-hmm. Might be a different variety here and there, but it's basically the same cat.
Yeah.
They're badass though.
But yeah, it just shows you kind of a spotting map. There's a black panther. There's a photo of a black cat.
I asked a gentleman, you know what? I got 2 anecdotes from this guy. One was from the space debris earlier. Mm-hmm. This is a guy I used to work with. He was in the service. He was like a Air Force Ranger, Army Ranger, one of those. And he was talking about being at a different, this base back in the day. And
oh boy,
like the technology they had back then. And he was in this room and had this just giant wall of like TV screens. And they were like, this sergeant or whoever he's with, like, oh, you want to see something cool? He like punches something in on the computer real quick, and like this shot comes up on the screen. They see this like orange ball just like cruising. He's like, what the hell is that? And they're like, it's the golf ball that Neil Armstrong hit off the moon when they went up there and landed. Like, we've been tracking it since he hit it off the moon.
What? That's crazy.
Because we're talking about, they track all these thousands and millions of pieces. They know where
all that debris is.
Well, yeah, because anything.
And that's what we were talking about.
Anything.
Not being able to find that UAP. When that UAP went down, they're like, oh, sorry, it's over the frozen lake.
This is what I'm saying.
We can't recover it.
This is what I'm saying.
We can track a goddamn golf ball in space.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on, bro.
That's what I'm saying. The other one was, he's a hunter. And I was listening to a lot of shows and stories about ABC's Alien Big Black Cats or Alien Black Cats. And I asked him, I said, hey, man, have you ever seen a big black cat, like a jaguar or panther, like hunting? He's like, yep. Yeah. Absolutely have. I was like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. He's like, sure.
They're spotted in Ohio. Truckers over in, that's what Justin from Crypts of the Corn.
I was just going to say.
He's truck driver that see him, I guess it's Urbana.
I'm sure they do.
Bell Fountain area.
But again, you can't mention it or actually acknowledge that you've seen them because now you've got to give them quarter.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's like we're being told that we're not living in the world we're living in. Like, no, there's not bears around here. There's bears in certain spots, and there's maybe black cats. And but that's what I'm saying. Is like we're not allowed to say they're out there, so we just say that they're not out. It's like
we definitely have black bears now in Ohio.
I know this, but
if you go to Ohio History Connection, they have a natural history kind of museum section, and they have all these taxidermy animals, and they have the Ohio black bear, completely extinct. In that museum right now, they basically tell you that there's no such thing as black bears in Ohio.
Right.
And then one of our episodes that'll be coming out probably in more than a few weeks, but ODNR naturalist John Hickenbottom
talks about it.
Has a great black bear story.
That's right.
So keep an eye out for that, John Hickenbottom.
God.
It'll be a while still. But
all these liars.
Yeah.
Not John. I'm saying all the other liars. Oh, we don't have bears. We don't have this. No, that's not real. And this isn't real. And blah, blah, blah. It's like we're living in Plato's cave. All this horse shit. Sorry. It gets me upset sometimes. I'm just tired. Like, I'm so
We've
tired
cursed
of
more
like,
on
trying
this
to figure
episode.
out.
I'm sorry if anybody's offended, but I did at least.
You cursed a lot?
I apologize.
I'm pretty sure I haven't. Yeah, that was my only one I've dropped so far. But yeah, it's frustrating, man. Like, I don't want to get to like 80, 90 years old, if I get to 80, 90 years old. But I don't want to get to like where it's like, oh, well, actually, your whole life, reality was this way. And yeah, you just been getting screwed your whole life because we didn't want to, actually tell you we had aliens or this or that or UFOs or free energy or Sasquatch or bears or black cat. Like, we just wanted you to know there's an IKEA down the way and you can go to Five Guys and get your burgers and then get your oil change at Midas and then go spend your money here and then go spend your money there and then go spend your money here and then go spend, like, I don't want to live in that garbage, man. Like, quit telling me things aren't real that are real.
Well,
the
veil's lifting for sure.
It needs to. It needs to.
Yeah.
It's getting really frustrating, man.
Don't let it frustrate it. This is exciting times to me. I mean, I get frustrated for sure. But I see a lot of signs right now where just the simple fact of all the 40-in style podcasts and people talking
coming
about
on
paranormal.
Strong.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It is.
More and more people are getting hip to this shit, and it's a good time to be alive.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Definitely frustrating at times. You feel like you're up against the wall, but We got some comments rolling. I can't read right now. I don't have any. I don't have my contacts.
Necro, as far as I know, that was his story. But Necro said every bit of weight is calculated to fly to the moon, including the weight of the fuel, and they packed golf equipment. I mean, dude, there's there's a guy.
Bro,
there's
I've
a guy
never
that
thought
snuck
about
like
that.
a freaking gorilla outfit.
Oh, man.
On the moon ride. Like astronauts have snuck things up there, so they can pull pranks or do things like that. And I saw one was
great.
Pizza Hut made a freaking oven for the International Space Station or something, so they get a pizza in space. It's not a joke. I'll tell you what. You give me pizza.
You give me a Supreme
Give
Pizza
me
Hut
Mars.
pizza, pre-Pizza Hut
Give me Mars and give me pizza.
Remember what Pizza Hut was
And
like when we were
don't give
kids?
me a ticket back
Dude,
home.
personal pan pizzas.
Best pizzas in the world. Nothing tasted better.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You know why it tasted so good?
Soundtrack on cassette with Book It.
Yeah.
You get a full Book It sticker. You got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles soundtrack
I don't think I ever got that.
cassette. I got it still.
I never got that.
I'll bring it in and prove it.
What?
I have it. It is horrible.
We went to the same school. Why didn't I get that? I know I read. I had the Book It.
Dude, we were Pizza
I had the
Hut.
pin
We
with
were
the
a Pizza Hut
badges, with the
family.
buttons and the stickers. And
Yeah, we were a Pizza Hut family.
Yeah.
I'd get my personal pan. We'd go there. We'd ride our bikes to New Bremen
No, I didn't.
all the time.
No, I
Jake,
wouldn't.
Cat,
Yeah, I didn't.
Chickasaw boys, we would ride our bikes. It was a hell of a haul, and we'd eat buffet, and then be like, "Oh God, I can't make it back," because we would just eat ourselves stupid. But dude, Pizza
lived
Hut
too
was
far out in
the
the-
best back in the day.
It's still
Now it's a
good.
Pizza Hut carryout.
It's still
They
good.
don't have the restaurants; those are all gone. Pizza Hut was.
There's no pizza at restaurants?
There's some in small towns. Like there's still one in New Bremen, but all the sit down places in Columbus
That's
completely are gone.
Well,
It's all carry out.
did you see the ones up top? Extopus? Born Not to Run said humans are like, oh, wonder what happens when we give this animal MDMA. Like,
Yeah.
that's an interesting thought experiment. Like,
Yeah.
I would like to see that done with like silverback gorillas.
Give them.
Maybe not, actually.
MDMA.
Hold on. Let's back up there. That could
get
get
weird.
a little extreme.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be in the room.
Nope. Nope.
Oh, man.
Nope. I shut that experiment down in my head real quick.
Who do we all got in here? We got Mopar Phil. We got
Phil.
Ronan Art and Music. Dude, he's been
Yeah.
killing it.
Yeah.
Everybody go check out Ronan Art and Music. Absolutely. Go check out that YouTube channel. He's crushing it. He's staying at it.
Yep.
I love when people start something and they
Stick
you
it
know,
out.
if you just keep going, something will happen. You quit, it all falls apart. You just got to keep going. That's what he's doing out
real.
there, man. Much love.
You got to do it.
And also, everybody, of course, go follow Necro Mechanimal on Instagram.
Oh,
Checking
yeah.
out all the He's been crushing the
best.
edits.
I can't wait to see this one.
The one with the post episode image after Lindsay on Monday, which unfortunately I didn't even see it until today. It just got pushed down my feed.
Yeah.
So it was me, you, and Lindsay as Ghostbusters
Yeah.
in the haunted house.
Yes.
With the symbol painted on the door. I'm like, dude, that might be the symbol. It seems like that would be the symbol.
I have to look at
He
it
nailed
again.
it. It was great.
Look at it again. He's always doing a good job.
Yeah. So much love to
Kills
all you guys out here. And if there's anybody I missed that's a content creator that's in the chat hanging out, show these guys some love. We're what else? Oh, I don't know on the wide shot if you can see here. Totally blew this in the intro. But Bob
yeah.
from MetaZoo. Shout out to MetaZoo Games and Bob and the folks over there sent us 4 unopened boxes. I'm sorry.
Oh.
What?
Stoner said we should open one.
Oh, copy that.
Yes.
We are going to open. There you go. Open that one. Why not?
Which one is this? What do we got here?
That's the cryptid one.
Oh, this is Cryptid Nation.
Cryptid Nation. This is one of the latest one that was just released this year. And you want to cut it open?
Nope.
All right, cool. The seal
Take that sticker right there.
is unsealed. Here, let me pull it.
Oh, man. There's a bevy of them in there.
Yeah, we got 4 giant boxes. So if anybody plays MetaZoo cards, let's see what we got here.
Now, do they all come?
Sorry, Disbro. This is going to be very crackly, bud.
All right, you get one and I get
All
one.
right, all right.
And then
They're
let's
each
compare.
individual wrapped. That's kind of fun. Let's see. We got. That looks like it's.
Chaos
So this is
position.
the MetaZoo City card.
That's
and
really cool.
So with this, you get. It's an 8 out of 10 box poncho. It's the city. Let me grab another one. Here we go.
Wait, you only had one card in there?
Yeah. So maybe
What?
that was just the.
Is that like the first card?
Might be the box.
I
Here
got
we
some
go.
cool cards here.
These
Old
are
Green Eyes.
Exploding Mine. Lake Worth Monster. Oh, check that one out. Lake Worth Monster. We got Necromancy.
Oh
Yes.
boy.
That's for you, buddy. It's for you, Necro. You need to start playing MetaZoo. I'll hook you up.
These are cool. I've got the Holy Gem.
Old Green Eyes.
I've got that one too.
The Ground Dog.
Hey, look
Ice
at that.
Storm. What's
The Holy Gem.
nice?
Looks like some kind of like stone of
We're
wonder.
learning about this game. We actually saw at Frogman Fest, they had half of the whole exhibit center was, I don't know, how many people do you think were in there? 200 people? More?
There's a lot of people playing MetaZoo.
Playing MetaZoo. I mean, incredible.
interested.
These guys crush it. The artwork is unbelievable. Much love to Bob and everybody over at MetaZoo. This one is the Unending Fire Castle, the River, and Cosmic Aura. Hello. That's dope. Very, very cool.
Bunny Man? What the? Is that like a Donnie Darko?
Oh yeah.
That's cool. Giant salamander.
You gotta show what
River
you're
Dragons?
looking at here, bud.
The skeleton's lanterns.
There you go.
That's cool right there. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, he's gonna zoom in. Look at that, Mikey. Look at the zoom.
Nice. Look at that PTZ operation in there, Stoner. That's good, buddy.
That's what she said.
That's the 20X. Nice.
That's cool.
Here you go. Here's the artifact, the broom, the Beaster bird, the Gigi bird. God, these are weird. Whoever, pyrokinetic blast card, old green eyes again, fire trap,
I got the beast.
Morpheus.
I got the beast of Busco. That one looks pretty intense too.
The Sinkhole Sam. Check this one out. This one's cool. I like
Really
the monster
cool.
cards. Let's check out. See if you got that zoom capability. Look at that.
I'm gonna do one more or two more
Focus,
here. and then-
focus. There it is.
Are we gonna open all these?
No.
Okay. 'Cause
There
it's a lot.
we
We'll be
go.
here open cards for a while. This is the last one.
Is that autofocus working?
Ooh, I got an alien astronaut. That's cool. I got a
sweet.
I got a gumbaroo. Look at that thing.
Man, they're creative. And a lot of this stuff is legends, folklore. So it's cryptids, legends, folklore. Probably a lot of the stuff you find in like the Witcher lore and stuff like that. Killer stuff. And that's just one box, man. We're not even, we've got a long way to go here. I don't know if you can see this, guys.
God, we got a long way to go.
But we're going to have a lot of fun opening these. We'll pop open a couple every now and then. And
We're gonna figure out what to
shout
do
out
with them,
MetaZoo.
though.
We got to learn how to play, right? We got 4 boxes. We could have some killer hands, bro.
Yeah. We're gonna have to.
We
Start
got to hit
learning
up
how to play.
Termenic.
We gotta learn.
Termenic, we met shortly at Frogman Fest.
We gotta learn how to play this.
He's one of the influencers over at MetaZoo. Shout out to Termenic. Shout out to MetaZoo. Thank you guys so much. That was sweet. Good idea there, Stoner.
Very good idea. Thank you for letting me open some of these. I've been asking about this. I'm not gonna lie. I've been every day almost. I come in and I'm like, "Can I open a box? Can we open some?" And then I looked down today, and one of the boxes had the plastic wrapping taken off of it. Mike
was
said we weren't gonna open any, and then we did open.
I had
some,
to open it.
And we opened
The
some.
MetaZoo logo was kind of blocking the cryptid for my photo the other day.
These are really, really cool.
You couldn't read the Cryptid Nation text on the front, so I was like, I got to pull it.
These are so cool. I'm gonna probably go down a rabbit hole on these.
But yeah, you guys can follow us at The Strange Road, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook group, Strange Road Hitchhikers. Again, thank you so much to all the people that are supporting the show, sharing, liking, reviewing. You guys are the best. Awesome tonight. Super sticker from Cess in the City.
And not just
Fantastic.
a super sticker, a
Super
great
chat.
comment.
Yeah,
a
super
great
chat.
comment too for
Yeah.
Tom Selleck's mustache.
Love that, dude.
That was hilarious. That was worth it.
You guys are great. Don't know what else to say. This has been fun. Great episode.
Appreciate everybody.
You guys are killing it out there.
Master Control.
Master Control,
Outgoing
Stoner,
shot.
and Disbro.
There they
They are. Wave, everybody. Look at Disbro.
yeah.
Just very, very hard at work.
Bet you it's hot in there.
I don't know. It's been pretty. Feels pretty good out here.
Bet you it's warm.
Yeah,
in
it's
there.
probably toasty in there.
That's all I got.
All right. Signing
next
out.
time.
Peace, love, and chicken grease, y'all. Bye bye.
Later.